Welcome to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, Sparks, and Team USA. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today, per usual, is my co-host, Dar-E-N Viziri, aka Time Dropper. Dime. Back to back to back to back. And then the women back to back to back. Gold medal winners, champions, however you want to phrase it, however you want to say it, USA got it done in France. They got it done Saturday night. They got it done Sunday night, and they got up out of there. Wemby, who? The alien? Oh, okay. Tell me more about that in 4 years. How are you feeling? I think you know how I'm feeling. I'm very excited. Beating the French twice in the Olympics.
Good wins, but too close for comfort, mainly in the women's side. We're going to get into that. I mean, a win's a win, but that made me very nervous. However,
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, however, we got the job done, and, it just feels like job done, business taken care of.
Yeah, definitely sweating there. Both games were tight. One was way tighter. And it was so funny all tournament long. Even on the pod, we were like, yeah, the women got it. The women got it. We're worried about the men. Can they take care? Can they take care? And then next thing you know, we're like, oh, no. Like you said, we'll talk about it in a minute. But we were like, it went from the women got it to like, the women definitely don't got it. And it's like, are we about to watch? Like, this really happening right now? And the further we went into the game, the more worried you were that, they're not only they're not walking away with this easy, we're now down to like nail biter hours. So we'll get to that in a little bit. I was going to start the show with that, but Time's like, no. We got to cook the Serbians first. And I was like, okay, if you want to do that, let's go ahead and do that. So Serbia played USA in the semifinal game. 110-84, USA came out with the victory, but that score definitely doesn't reflect how things were going. 3 quarters in, Serbia was in control. They were dominant. They were up by double digits going into the fourth. Dime, let's paint the picture. One, why did Serbia have such a lead? And then if you want to, we can get into, of course, how USA made that incredible comeback.
They got off to that lead because they were raining from 3. Bogdanovic and that Avramovic guy, they were just going insane. I don't think the USA defense was necessarily bad, but it wasn't high alert enough. I think because we beat them by 26 the first time, we were kind of underestimated what they could do outside of Jokic. And Jokic is at the forefront in terms of like setting screens and his, rolling gravity and pick and pop gravity. Like that all matters to free things up for these other guys. But I thought that Serbia was just playing really good ball, knocking down shots. We were getting a little complacent. And it's in a single elimination situation, even with all the talent in the world, you can go cold sometimes. And we had stretches where we went cold. It was getting very scary, Edwin. It was getting very scary. I mean, down by 11 at half. And then at one point, how much were we down in the third quarter? Like 15?
Yeah, I believe it was 15 points. Yep. And to me, what really surprised me too was it's like what we talk about in the regular season, right? Whenever we have like a game where the Lakers or Clippers are heavily favored or heavily, underdogs, we say, yeah, well, it is one game. So like this is how, if it goes the way we're not expecting it to go, this is what happens, right? And I think that's what's interesting about Olympic play in particular. It does give you that March Madness feel where even though the US clearly has, the resumes and all that, it's like, yeah, it's just one game. So like you said, player gets cold, other player gets hot, someone's in foul trouble or something. Next thing you know, the game's on its head and you don't have a game 2, game 3 adjustments to make. That's it. You're going home. So, Bogey hitting those threes and he started feeling himself, right? He did the Melo, celebration in front of Melo. And then LeBron, I've seen him do this many times as a Laker. He started complaining, like, hey, what are you doing? Like you're taking it too far, man. And, it was funny. Usually there's a backlash because LeBron has so many haters. People were like, oh, look, LeBron's being a baby. But this time, since it was America, all I heard was, yeah, LeBron's mad. Like this guy's, the out of line, which is really funny seeing it kind of everyone on one side of it. But they were in trouble. This was not like, a first quarter lapse or something. This was fourth quarter. Something's got to change. And Dime, what made things change here and turn this from a historic loss to an epic win?
It really comes down to players taking more pride in their defense, like it all individually, and then it translates to as a team, because the ball pressure, the level of desperation in our body language was so evident in that fourth quarter. It's like we had the same guys that were playing the rest of a lot of the game, and the lineup of Embiid, Booker, LeBron, Steph, and KD brought it home. And for all the things we said about Joel Embiid, you and I, in this tournament and in these
Yeah.
episodes, he stepped up huge in this game. He was able to match Jokic's physicality a bit, and those big jump shots he made in that fourth quarter, even though he allowed like 3 offensive rebounds in a row, but then he scored to make up for it on the other end. And eventually we got enough stops, and LeBron in transition. I mean, the most incredible thing about him at this age, despite, how all the other amazing things he does in the game skillfully, is the athleticism. I mean, it's just like outrageous how he's moving. Like at this age, it's crazy. He's jumping from the middle of the key and, finishing on the opposite side, a little double clutch reverse. Like it's and in full speed. You know what I mean? It's quite spectacular. And then Steph, he finally woke up in this game. And I think there was an effort from the Brazil game to give Steph Curry the ball more, because I do think there was a lack of touches for him.
Yeah.
It was that mixed with just the best shooter of all time getting out of a slump. It's two things can be true at once. Steph could have been bricking, and it was hard for him to adjust to playing with certain, so many superstars. But he came up huge for us in these final 2 games. We'll talk about the final in a sec, but this semifinal, throughout the game when nobody could really get going offensively and it looked like KD was finally having a bad game, Steph Curry was our constant throughout the game, knocking down the 3 ball. And then Devin Booker, I thought, was awesome. But the play that really stands out for me is USA up by 2, 35 seconds left or something like that, with LeBron James, Steph Curry, D-Book, Joel Embiid, and KD on the court. Who does a coaching staff, who does an American public want with that last shot? Now, I think you'll get differing opinions based on your agenda. But me, in this situation, I would say my ranking of how much I like this 5, it goes as follows. Steph is my favorite. And then I would say LeBron, but because of everything he's done, I actually enjoy so much about Devin Booker's game right now, but LeBron is LeBron. I have a level of respect for him and what he's done. So I'd say he's my second favorite. And then Embiid, Booker. I love Booker's game, actually, but he plays for the Phoenix Buns. You know what I mean? So I kind of hate, but he's so great. I think Devin Booker's one of the best players in the NBA and has been for like 5 years. And then my least favorite is KD. And again, this is just not wow.
Yeah.
Not wow. You know me, Edwin.
Yeah, I'm so surprised. I still thought that wouldn't go away. I think you'd have him higher than Embiid is what surprised me, even with the not being the biggest fan.
I have a lot more respect for Kevin Durant as a basketball player than Joel Embiid, but
sure.
And I honestly like watching KD play more than Embiid, but I do really like Embiid because, I always have a soft spot for like, foreign NBA players because like my parents are foreigners. And I also am like a big fan of like West African soccer players like Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o, like those guys were some of my favorite players as a kid because they're all like super pacey, good at FIFA, and then just really good, just super fun players to play with and then great in real life. And Embiid, being from Cameroon. So like I wanted, him to do well and succeed. And I love his game too, but yeah, I don't like the flopping and stuff. And he has a lot of excuse makers out there. But I say that to say that KD was my least favorite player in that, right? But I looked at my friend and I said, we need a bucket. To me, you put all those guys in their prime. The best player is LeBron James for me. But the best scorer to me is KD.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, he can get the shot off the easiest. He's the best jump shooter. I think if you want me to make a play, LeBron. But this is also 40-year-old LeBron, right? Like 39-year-old LeBron. KD, one shot over some Serbian guys, some Serbian pros that are having a great night. I'm going with KD. And LeBron knew it too. LeBron, he looked for KD. And I love how KD told Joel Embiid, "Nah, I don't need."
Yeah, when he wanted to switch, he was like, "Get the heck out of here!" I was just about to mention that play, and I think that play is kind of, me and you kind of differ on like the modern game versus the old game, but KD actually he's kind of on your side a little bit, even though he's an incredible shooter. Because when the moment came, that's what he did, right? He said, "Forget all this pick and roll, 1-on-1." And what shot did he take? A shot 1 foot inside the 3-point line, so a long two, contested. But he knew, hey, I can get a little bit of separation. I'm also taller than this guy, so I can shoot over him. And 1 foot in, I feel good there. The analytics says that's an awful shot. Either take that three or drive it, use that size to get closer. He's like, no. And that's always been KD's argument. There are good shots all across the court, and you can find other spots that for you will be a good shot. And he proved it right there. He just little movement, pulled up, he took it. And the minute he took it, I was not like, oh no, bad shot. I was like, oh, that's going in, and it did. And that was one of those big shots late in those final 2 minutes of clutch time there.
Let me I got a basketball point to make. But before I make it, I want to ask the audience, there's 70 listeners. We were having some technical difficulties before the show started. Can you please let us know if our audio and our pictures looks good? There's a bunch of you guys on Twitter. If come to YouTube, it's much easier to comment and stuff and interact with us. You can support the show as well on YouTube. The link is actually not posted on my Twitter, but come to Dime Dropper on Twitter on YouTube to find it. But always appreciate the Twitter people as well. Leave some comments, interact with the chat. Let's get some conversation going. But let us know about the sound. My basketball point, though. I don't think this is a hater point. I legitimately think this is basketball strategy. So as far as the point you just made, the pick and roll at the end of the game versus get out of my way. When you're a defense, right, and you have these amazing players like LeBron or KD for a last shot or Kobe, right? Yeah. As a defense, what do you want to do, Edwin? Let me ask you, if you're a coach, how do you play it? I know it depends on who you are, but let's just say it's that caliber of guy.
So that caliber of guy, and I need to get a stop, right?
You said get the stop?
Yeah, you're asking me from the offense or defensive perspective?
I'm saying, in the defense, I'm saying, of course you got to get a stop, but what do you want out of the possession? You know what I'm saying? Do you want to make the guy take a tough shot? Do you want to get the ball out of his hands?
Out of his hands, the first thing I think of is, especially if it's an inbound ball denial, I want that ball to go anywhere.
Let's say he has the ball. Let's see he has the ball in open play. Yeah.
Sure. Well, then I want my best defender on him. So I'm trying to make sure I get my best defender on him, and I'm trying to make sure that we're watching out for any kind of switches they try to make, because they're probably going to counter in the traditional basketball right now. They're probably trying to counter and get a weaker defender to come over and get a switch. So I'm trying to get the best defender on him and keep them on him. Maybe if I'm really desperate, I'm throwing a double and saying, are you really going to take that bad shot? But I think at first I'm just going to trust my best defender to do the job of one-on-one defending on them unless I see something else happen from the offense.
Okay, that's a different strategy. Just you want to let your best defender do it. What if he does call for the screen though? Are you going to let your weak defender switch? You're going to throw two on the ball?
I'm probably throwing two on the ball, because I'm definitely an advocate of just make the player pass to just wide open Danny Green. I'm happy with that. I'll live with that, even if Danny Green's a great shooter.
Okay, so you're kind of leading me towards my point. So here's the thing. I remember rewatching, and I can pick a lot of games in LeBron's career for this, but in 2008, Game 5 against the Celtics, I know this is going way back, but this is when pick and rolls were most teams were throwing two on the ball for a second because the rotations were easier to make because the floor wasn't as spaced, right? So LeBron was getting and he got the pick and pop with Ilgauskas and Boobie Gibson and those guys. That was a money shot because they pick and popped. So you had to throw two on LeBron getting downhill and they would get a good shot. But the point was the Celtics were getting the ball out of LeBron's hands, and this is a team without a second star, clear cut, right? In the 08 Cavs. LeBron can guarantee a good shot every time if a team throws two on the ball.
Yeah.
And he knows it. And I think overall, though, part of why I do like, and this is literally not hate, this is just a basketball preference, why I do like the Jordans, the Kobes, the KDs that can take shots over loaded up defenses, mid-range, over the top of guys and stuff, loaded on a dime, is because of that reason. I would rather, as you said, the ball gets out of their hands. And even though LeBron might be he's probably getting you the best shot, as a fan, I would prefer the ball in my best player's hands taking the last shot. I honestly never get mad at LeBron when he takes the last shot. I encourage him to do it. And I really think that there's always going to be people out there. And I know, because I used to be a LeBron fan. There's always going to be people out there that are going to blame him if he doesn't take it. And then if he misses, they're going to say he's not clutch either.
Yeah.
Players miss. I saw. Yeah.
I give LeBron tremendous credit because I'm actually with you. I'm like, I don't care if there's 5 guys on, take it. But that's because that's the fan in me. That's the forget all that. Let the best player. You're my best player. Like, don't buy in. That's what they want you to do. No, I don't want the ball going to Danny Green. You take it. But I give LeBron credit because he sticks to the basketball ideology, which is like, my job is to get the best shot. Sometimes that's me. Sometimes it's someone else. I trust my guys. I trust him. I trust Danny Green. I trust KCP. I trust Taurean Prince. And he always talks about that. He's like, I play the right way regardless of all that other stuff. But like I just want him, like the South Sudan U.S. basketball showcase game where he just took it one-on-one. But that's because in that scenario, they did allow him to go one-on-one. And he said, well, I got you then. So, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I prefer kind of the hero ball at that very last second. Like, just take us home. It's all good.
Yeah, essentially, like my point was, I like that Katie rejected the screen. I'm very in favor of rejecting the screen at times because the thing is, do you want a shot or not? If you're okay with not getting the shot, then fine, call for the screen. But my thing is, as we said, sometimes you just want the best player getting the shot. And I also think it's in their nature. Like, I think LeBron is more of a, let's see what the defense is giving me. I'm going to make the play. Whereas Jordan, KD, and Kobe, for example, like those 3 guys are just like, let me go get a bucket and let's see if you double me. That's just a different mindset in the way that they approach the game. Nothing, sure. And that's not necessarily better or worse. It's just depending on what you prefer. But exactly. So yeah, that's how I say like, credit to KD.
Yeah, one of the most famous KD shots. We all know it, right? Gets the rebound. He takes it up the court, hits it over LeBron. He did that in the first ring they got against Cleveland when KD was in Golden State. He did a very similar shot the next time around. That's KD. That's why he won those MVPs, because he's like, I got the ball. I got the advantage. I'm just going to destroy, like that. That's always his mindset. And it came out here and he executed like he has many other times when he has that moment. And yeah, like you mentioned, Booker was incredible as well. And I just love that, these are the high, this was like high elite basketball, right? This is why we watch all the games from like middle school up to the finals. We're looking for where the game's going, where the game's growing, and to see it played at the highest levels, the sharpest. And it was just so great, that final defensive stance when the clock was running out. You see LeBron gets the long rebound, Steph's on the bench because they're switching everything for like defensive purposes. And, and Steph runs on the court with LeBron. LeBron throws the ball like they just won the freaking championship. They're like hugging and screaming in each other's faces. And it's like, yeah, they care, man. Like they're all in, they're doing the dirty work, and they're getting the job done. That's what matters, right? So I thought that was just, we saw the pictures were going viral. Everyone was like, this is crazy, And it's like, yeah. And it's just so great to watch them. Like you said, like play the game straight up, rejecting screens, taking shots, encouraging each other, playing defense. Everyone's switching. Everyone's communicating. Who's at the nail, who's recovering, who's switching. Like it was just top tier basketball. And to come back after being down by so much and having such a dominant fourth quarter was sensational. All right. Let's move on to the women. This one was much easier, right? 85-64. They kind of, easily went through Australia. I don't have too much to say about this one. It was kind of an easy game. And at this point, I figured, okay, cool. They took care of Australia. I knew France was better, but I figured, it'll still be fine. So it was pretty smooth sailing here. Beating Australia, they didn't really pose too much of a threat. Dime, do you have any comments on this game before we go into the gold medal matches?
Not too many. It was more routine than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Yeah, I wasn't too surprised. I just didn't think that, which ended up being true. I didn't think Australia had enough offense. They got much better. They had a much better game overall in their bronze medal match, which they did win, which means that Talbot did come home. Sparks player Talbot did come home with the bronze medal. So that was pretty dope. And they played much better in that game, including Talbot. She had like a game-saving block in that bronze medal match. I'm just going to bring it up now because we're not going to go into that, but brought the bronze home. So that was cool. But in the semifinal match to enter the gold medal game, they just didn't have much of an offense. And that was really their biggest problem. While USA just kind of strolled by. And I think that's why we'll get to their game in a little bit. That's why people were surprised when they woke up in the morning. They're like, wait, what? We're in a dogfight? Like, what's going on? But again, we got the dream we wanted, which was USA France for both men and women. How cool is that? In Paris? That's wild, right? What are the odds? It would be the same result on both sides. And in the home country, and the country away from home is actually favored. So it was really like great cinema was going on. And gold medal match, we're going to get into it now with the men's first because they played first. We got 98-87. I mean, we could talk about this game. I'm sure you've already done pods on this whole game, right? But really quick, the main thing I want to talk about is one, it stayed close. You saw USA push not to the limit because we've seen that happen before, but they were still, in a really tight game. You never really felt comfortable overall. It was tight throughout. And you mentioned it already. Steph obviously had a really good game against Serbia. Here he went like, wow, God mode. I mean, people are literally putting up at the higher in the all-time list because of this game. Like clearly, again, that might be definitely reactionary, but that's how much people also value these games. My sister's not really too into basketball. She's a lot more into soccer and stuff. And she's like, well, how much does this really matter compared to the NBA? And I'm like, it's tricky. It's kind of like you ask different people, they're going to give you different answers. But I told her it matters a lot because even though we're expected to win, and it's not like amazing that we won, it's still a lot of pressure. And how you play in these games they are legacy stuff. These threes are going to be in whatever highlight reel you make of Steph's career. Like these moments are going to be in there with him winning the title, with him, crying in Boston after he cooked them. Like those moments, this is going to be right up there, right? So these games matter that much that they'll be in a long history of a career that has 5 titles. This gold medal and this performance is going to stand out and be part of that highlight. And yeah, it was just amazing, right? They needed those threes. It was still close. He hit not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4, and he hit 3 straight, including that moonshot. It was amazing. That to me was just a sensational performance. Again, Devin Booker also 6 for 9 from the field. He just talk about being a star in his role. He's just like, I'm going to play decent defense. I'm going to be on the wings, and I'm going to knock down the shots when you give them to me. And he did just that. He did like the perfect job. And I think that's, we don't want to talk too much about Tatum because I'm not one of those criers, but that's the thing with Tatum. When he played similar roles during those showcase games, it didn't look as good. And that was the problem. It's fitting into this role. You can't compare the NBA regular season or postseason to this. This is a different setup, single elimination games. We don't have time to kind of build chemistry, and you just got to fit amongst the stars. And even here, there's a hierarchy, right? LeBron's clearly the guy. Steph's clearly the guy. And Embiid's kind of the penciled in big that's starting every game. So you got to fit around those 3 and then see how you fit around with the backup players like AD, Bam, Anthony Edwards. That's the way this worked. And if you couldn't adjust to that well, Tyrese Halliburton sat on the bench more. Tatum sat on the bench more because those 3 are going to be up there when things matter. And for me, obviously, the Curry play was the highlight here. And, LeBron had also an incredibly good all-around game, 10 assists, 6 boards. And, AD was cleaning up the glass too on the bench. But I'm going to bring it to you, Dime. What do you want to kind of talk about unpacking this gold medal game in France against Gobert and Fournier and Wemby, who, was very emotional after the game, losing in Paris, and they had a chance to win for sure.
Great spectacle of an event, to have France host a gold medal game. Credit to them. It was awesome. Crowd sounded great. Another game that was a little too close for comfort, but at the end of the day, got it done. Steph Curry, to me, obviously is the standout. I mean, some of those shots were ridiculous. I think the all-time discussion thing is silly. I mean, I think the Olympics matter a lot, but not for me when it comes to all-time discussions. Does not.
Yeah.
The Steph Curry, though, I mean, that last shot was, I don't even know what to say, man. But we've seen him do it his whole career. So just such an epic shot, though, just given the circumstances. And then AD, you mentioned him. I think he was huge in this game. Just showing what we always see with the Lakers. Just being, to me, a summer in and after the playoffs, I was saying, you know what? Jokic dominates Anthony Davis. Maybe Anthony Davis isn't the best defender in the NBA like I've been so adamant about. But Gobert has the same exact effect on Jokic, a minimal one. And there's no other defender. I love Bam Adebayo, but to me, that overall has as big of an impact on games as Anthony Davis. And you saw some of that in this game. His rim protection, his length on defense, his size around the rim, and some putbacks. Yeah, some putbacks, some rebounds. So big stuff from him. And credit to France, man. They really worked hard and they made it a game. But the fellas took care of business, and I think they played some good ball.
Yeah, I love that moment with Steph, because he mentioned he was struggling. We talked about it before on the pod that, maybe this is a sign of, he's just in a different place. And, again, he's a shooter. If he's not going well in a single elimination kind of game, like that's just kind of how it goes. And he said, I'm going to get out of it. LeBron's like, oh yeah, it's coming. And, Anthony Edwards, shared on Instagram when he was after they won and everything. He's like, oh, Steph just got here 2 days ago, joking about he hadn't appeared the rest of the tournament. He wasn't around. He finally showed up last couple of days and he did. And it was so great. He's hitting the shots. He's talking his smack. He's like, don't worry about me, and all that kind of stuff. So that was great. And it was great to see. And again, the rest of the world's catching up. Cool. That's true. The game's growing in all different types of places. That's true. But again, at the end of the day, when we bring our best, you still... You can get close, but the history is filled. It's littered with a lot of close. The Redeem team had close games. At the end of the day, all that we remember is, oh man, Kobe was hitting those shots and they won, and now we remember Steph hitting those shots and they won, and that's what we're going to remember. That's what it comes down to. You got to win the games, and USA got it done, and that was incredible. The next morning, early game here in the West Coast. I think it was like 6:30 start. I got up. I was like, okay. I really didn't want to. I was like, I'm gonna stay up. And I also thought probably be an easy game. No big deal. They'll take care of it, right? No. Not far from it. They won literally by the smallest margin possible, 67-61. They were in a dogfight. And I think obviously you had Gabby Williams, who was just amazing. She was incredible. You also had Johannes, who was she's also been very, very good. Both haven't been playing in the W because of the rules and stipulations. They're so committed to France that they've worked on that aspect and being at camp and being ready and haven't even been in the W this season. And man, they balled out. They were just incredible. They kept the energy up. They were just shooting amazingly from the field overall. And I think one of the biggest issues the USA women's had was the guards just didn't play well enough. They weren't defending well enough. They weren't scoring well enough. I think the bigs like Asia Wilson was amazing. Even Griner had some pretty good minutes. Collier was decent, but I just didn't see enough from the guards. I don't know what was going on, but the guards didn't bring it. And France had guards that were bringing it, and they almost got it done because of that. That's really what it came down to. It was a really nitty-gritty game. Tough rebounds from Asia Wilson down the stretch. Key baskets. Brianna Stewart had a really nice block. And man, honestly, just that final play with the game, they were down by 3. Gabby Williams just got a little sloppy and just was pushing so hard to run and get to a good spot that she kind of overran. And when she got the ball, the momentum took her just a little too forward and didn't have enough to gather and be aware enough to get behind the line. She still hit an amazing shot off the glass, but the buzzer sounded. Instead of going to overtime, it's a 1-point game. It's over. USA got away with it. Dime, what was your biggest takeaway from the game? And when were you like, okay, I'm nervous? What was that moment that you're like, I don't think they're going away. Actually, I think we're in trouble.
I sadly didn't wake up at 6:30 for the game. I didn't even realize it was at 6:30. I watched the whole thing, but I'd already seen that we won, so there wasn't the suspense. I would have been really nervous had I been watching it live. I mean, the women losing to me would have been way more shocking than the men.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it. I thought the gap was bigger, and I still believe it is. If we had played France in a 7-game series, I would give the men's – actually, I don't know. After watching the way that the women played us, I don't know if I would say that they would do better against us. But the point is I was still more confident about the women winning gold than the men, even though I was confident about both. But to me, the two biggest difference makers in the game, Kelsey Plum and Kalia Copper. I'll tell you why. Kelsey Plum made 2 huge threes in the second half when they were inching closer and closer. And actually, no, we may have been down. We were down to begin that third quarter. Remember, they went on like an 8-0 run. And then Copper, who I thought I think she's amazing, but I was shocked that coach gave her so many minutes all of a sudden because she's been one of the players that's gotten the least amount of minutes. No Jewel Lloyd in this game, which is fine. She hasn't played great. No DT, which I agree with. But the no Sabrina Ionescu for the entire first half was shocking to me. Shocking. She's been good in the tournament.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I think Kyle Copper ended up making huge plays on the glass, getting to the line, playing solid defense. And when you think about Kahleah Copper, you usually think about her bucket getting, but she was doing some of those little things. So that was really impressing me. And I think Plum's threes really shifted momentum. And as you mentioned, Asia, the typical Asia Wilson game, she didn't even shoot that well. And she had 21 and 13, 5 offensive rebounds. So a ton of rebounds late. She's the best in the world. You mentioned Stewie with the block, but Kahleah Copper, Kelsey Plum, big time plays. Too close for comfort, though. Shout out to France. Thank God we got it done. But let me ask you a question, though, unrelated to the Olympic team. Because I think, do you have anything else to say about the women's team?
Only thing I'll say is yes. When I mentioned the guard play, I was more talking about like Gray kind of being disappointing, Ionescu not playing enough, and Plum I think was disappointing. Not disappointing might be too strong, but not playing up to par throughout the tournament. But on this night, she was great. And Copper, she's a classic example of working through the ranks because other cycles she was invited and you're like, there's no way she's gonna like really break the roster like that and stuff like that. And now she's more solidified, and then she got a big moment and she stepped up. So yeah, they balled out, both Plum and Copper, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, a perfect 12 for 12 combined. That's how you win, right? It comes down to getting those rebounds, making your free throws, not forcing turnovers, and the mental stuff, right? Not to keep harping on Gabby Williams, but that was a mental mistake. Like if you were a little bit more aware, you get a clean look at 3 instead of a long 2, in that scenario. So those are my last comments there. What do you got?
You mentioned it, and I was going to ask you about it, or about her. Chelsea Gray looked a little slow, and her jumper is not great, but she is still such a great passer. She's made such a difference since she's come back for Vegas. But since you've been watching her more, like watching the W more closely than me for longer, do you see a drop off from last season? Okay. And so you see a drop off, right? Yeah. Will that cost the Aces their, not like single-handedly, but will that be one of the big reasons why they do not three-peat this year?
I think that, and even though I just gave her some flowers, Plum is very suspect defensively. And I think the same guard problems that USA women have, that's the same kind of issues that might come up for the Aces. They're very likely going to be in a dogfight for the title here. It's still a lot left to go. The home stretch is coming up, and although I think they'll probably still be favored, yeah, they have some work to do. And I need to see Gray kind of figure this out and be a little bit better. And Plum, are you going to be good enough to not get switched on mercilessly in the playoffs where they're just going to be picking on you? Those are the 2 things I think are going to be a problem. So yes, I think this is the most vulnerable the Aces have looked, and it's tough, right? Like the mental stuff too. They've already won 2. Can you really get it up there to get a 3 win? There's other teams that haven't won it that are starving to get it and to beat you, and then hopefully have you guys say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else and just kind of break it up. So this is going to be the toughest one for sure. If they win it, it'll be their toughest one because they're not as easily in the front running here. So yeah, it might be a factor. I think it will be.
Is that a segue into our topic about the Aces and the Sparks?
Yeah, we can make it. Yeah, let's go into it. So we're going to go very carefully here because it's legal and we got to be careful. So I'm going to just go with the straight facts, and then we'll just kind of comment on the general situation. But essentially, Dearica Hamby has reportedly filed a discrimination complaint against the Aces and the WNBA. So essentially taking legal action. She got the notice of right to sue back in May of 2024, and she's now taking that, and she filed with the courts in Las Vegas. And this is now a lawsuit, and we'll see where it's going to go, what it's going to head to. If you're like, well, what is she suing for? Well, again, she wasn't always a Spark. She was a Las Vegas Aces player for the beginning parts of her career, and the way her perspective of it was when they found out she was pregnant. When she found out she was pregnant and told the organization, the attitude changed, it shifted, and she was traded. The Aces are like, no, kind of just a coincidence. Like we're just doing organizational stuff, and we just traded you because we got some good pieces. That's all it was. She doesn't feel like it was. That's what the dispute, essentially started. And the Hamby also went through the WNBA's, kind of system and made this. This has been a thing that's her stance has been on it, and the Aces have made their stance. No, it's not what it is. Blah blah blah. The league did their own investigation, and they didn't necessarily give all the details, but there was some kind of smoke because they did suspend Becky Hammon, the coach, for 2 games, and they took away the 2025 first round draft pick. So I'm not saying that means this lawsuit's like going to go one way or another, but you don't do that unless you find something that makes you feel like you should punish somebody, right? They did punish the Aces for it. And then it kind of died down, and now we're getting this information. Now, again, that's the there's like your employer and there's like the law, right? Your employee might say, hey, someone did something wrong. I wrote them up or something. And you can say, no, that's not enough for me. I'm going to actually take legal action, and that's what Hamby's doing. So if you're wondering, well, if the WNBA investigated, why is there more? It's like, well, that's your job. And this is going a step further. This is like literally the law. And I'm suing you based on like the rights I have as a worker. And like, we're taking this the next step. And that's what she's officially doing. So Dime, obviously this is going to be like an ongoing thing. We'll see what happens. What are just your general thoughts about the situation?
That it's a lot, and it's makes the Vegas Aces look a little questionable, and Becky Hammon sound a little heartless, but I'm just gonna let it happen. It's a discussion that's, I don't know. We need to know. I need to know more about it. You know what I mean? I need to know more information about how bad it was, and it's just a lot. I don't know what to say. I just wish Dearica the best.
Yeah, no, for sure, Dearica. We obviously everyone's wishing her the best. She's a very I don't think emotional person, like that's a bad thing, but she's literally teared up at interviews before about how much she cares, how hard she plays. You mentioned it, right? Like she always brings that energy on the court. Won the bronze for Team USA in 3x3, right? She's always doing those kinds of things and giving that effort, and she's been incredible. Like she's been just as we mentioned here, right? MVP, All-Star, MVP for the Sparks, not the league, All-Star for the league, right? And even from her pregnancy and stuff, like she's always exceeded expectations. When she was brought on, Dime, the general consensus, like I'm not saying necessarily, it's not a report, but it is kind of what I heard. They kind of expected her, she'll probably be back around All-Star. Like they knew, okay, she's pregnant, obviously, she's gonna need some time and stuff. She didn't miss a game last year. She played all the games after giving birth. She didn't miss a game. It literally didn't affect her in terms of being available to play, which is like mind-boggling. And they were thinking All-Star break she'd come back. She was there training camp. She was there game 1. Unbelievable. Had a pretty good year last year. This year took it even another level, and she's been killing it. And through all that, she's been dealing with this, getting the news from them, getting the WNBA's ruling, deciding, do I go the next step? Do I just let it go? How easy would it be to just say, you know what, forget it, F them. I'm not even going to go through all that. And she's like, no, I'm going to fight for myself here. Like, this was messed up. This was legally messed up, I believe. So I'm filing, and, we're going to take it. So again, we'll leave it there. We'll see what happens, whether they go to court, whether the WNBA decides to settle. I don't know. We'll see. We'll obviously keep you updated. I assume Dearica's going to talk about it at least a little bit. They have a game coming up Thursday, which we'll talk about. So I'm sure someone, I don't know if I'll be the one, but someone will definitely ask, like, hey, what's going on? She probably can't comment too much, but I'm sure she'll say at least a little something. So we'll get a statement from them. And the Aces, of course, can't say too much because it's a court thing. So it's gone to the point where, all right, we're just going to talk to the lawyers. So they made a statement just generally saying like, oh, we kind of a PR statement of like, we're doing the right thing. We can't comment too much, blah, blah, blah. We're going to move forward as we move forward. So again, also for fans thinking, oh, why hasn't Asia said something? Like, dude, this is literally now, it's a legal thing. So you're not going to really hear too much of anyone saying anything. It would not be smart to lawyers on both sides, like, hey, don't say nothing. Like we're already going through the process. So, we have something to say. We're going to say it on the record, and we're going to do it from there. So that's where things are going there. Before we go fully onto the Sparks, because they do have games this Thursday, we got to go to one of my favorite things, Dime. The Emirates NBA Cup. For the Cup, in case you're thinking, oh, the Celtics have 18 banners and the Lakers have 17. No. The Lakers have 18 banners. And one of them is the NBA in-season tournament banner, but it's a banner nonetheless. Dime knows he loved it so much he posted it before anybody,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, am I lying? Did you not post it before everybody?
No, I mean, I
So
didn't.
you did. That's right. So anyway, the Emirates NBA Cup, it's back. The NBA is very smart. You know, I think we all saw this coming. They, as soon as the World Cup, as soon as the Olympics were done, they were like, hey, here's the Christmas games. Here's the opening night. You know, check this out. And what do they do today? Like, hey, here's the NBA Cup. And I'm guessing, just a guess. I don't have any inside information, but I'm guessing Friday they announced the entire NBA schedule. That's my prediction. It's gonna be Friday. That's what I think. So we'll see what happens. But that it's not Friday, it's Tuesday. And Tuesday they released all the NBA Cup games and the schedule. So I'm gonna go into it a little bit here, Dime. Since they announced everybody, that means they announced the Lakers, they announced the Clippers. The Lakers are in, I believe it's Group B. Yes, Group B, and they have November 15th they play the Spurs. November 19th they play the Jazz. November 26th they play the Suns, and November 29th they play Oklahoma City Thunder. That's their group. There's 5 teams. Obviously, you're going to play 4, and the number 1 seed's going to qualify for the quarterfinals, and we're going to go down the path to Vegas there. Now, the Clippers, they are in the A group, so that's their group. They're in Group A, and I got their schedule here. Let me see. Okay, wait, I do not have their schedule here. Let me pull it up. Give me 1 second.
I know we play against Minnesota.
That's like the first game, right?
Minnesota, Houston. But I don't know, man. I don't even know if I want us to win this damn thing. Because if we win, they're just going to clown us. Putting a banner up at the Intuit Dome that's not a championship banner. It's just like, it's okay for you guys to have so many. But by the way, my uncle, who's a huge Laker fan, he thinks it's bad. He wishes they never put up that in-season tournament banner. He's one of the ones that only thinks they should put up championships. But
sure. So about that, I think in an ideal world, I probably think you're right. It makes sense. Like, why put that up? But I think I think that you will see every team do it. Yeah, you're going to see every team do it. I don't think there'll be any team that doesn't put up the NBA in-season tournament banner.
But the problem is, teams that have not won a championship, like the Clippers, will just be clowned for putting up a banner. So it's gonna have to come with memes.
I think you're going to be safe in this scenario. I think everyone knows. Hey, it's and since the Lakers have done it, I don't think you'll hear Laker people talk about it. They might joke that it's the only banner you put up, but they won't be like, "How are you putting it up?" It's like, well, you literally did it first. So I think you're safe from most of the trolling there. But they'll probably be a little bit, but there can't be too much. Okay, so here we go. We got the Clippers November 15th. They play the Rockets. On the 22nd, they play the Kings. 29th, they play the Timberwolves. And on December 3rd, they're going to play the Trailblazers. So that's their group stage. Dime, you already mentioned it, that you're like, I don't even know if we want to win it. I find it funny. Like, in general, I'm like, well, want to win is strong, but I would like them to at least make the quarterfinals because these are regular season games. So, like,
yeah, I agree with that. I want to see us go to the knockout stage.
Yeah. Now, if you're not heartbroken or you're not super frustrated, I think that's fair because you could be like, hey, at the end of the day, it's fine. But you should at least want them to get into the quarterfinals because that means you're winning your regular season games. So cool. Okay. And then we'll take it from there. I think it's good competition. We saw a lot of high intensity basketball in those quarterfinals, semifinals, championship, and it kind of exposed some teams and kind of showed some teams going the right way, some teams going the wrong way. Right. I think that's one of the reasons Doc ended up in Milwaukee is because they didn't perform well in those moments. And you saw the Pacers perform really well, and they ended up going to the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't, come out of it, but they pushed themselves, and that was kind of them showing, hey, we can play with the best all around. And the Lakers obviously, played it exceptionally well, won the whole thing, but didn't find that same success in the playoffs themselves. But again, they didn't play the Nuggets either in the NBA in-season tournament. And guess what? They beat the Pelicans in the in-season tournament in a single elimination game. And when they played them later in the play-in, they beat them too. So like again, showing that, hey, we can do that at that level in these kind of intense, like winner go home scenario. So I really like that about it. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good. It's something that's new. Yes, it's still kind of in its early infancy here. Now we have a branding to it, the Emirates NBA Cup. I'm curious to see how the courts are going to look. the Clippers have a new court. You're gonna get a new court and have like different colors and all that, or you're gonna go all in on like the new logo and all that. That's gonna be interesting to me, and we'll probably have to wait to hear about all of that. Any other comments, Dime, about the NBA Cup and in general? Because we might, if I'm right, and it's Friday, we're gonna comment on the regular season schedule coming out, next pod. Are you like a big schedule guy? Do you get really excited? Do you get nerdy? Do you start highlighting it, tracking how as it goes, or are you one of those people who says, you know what, I don't really care. I'll just look at it in October and it's fine. Well, where are you at when the schedule drops? What level of excitement and interest do you have on the schedule?
Usually not much, but this season, because we're moving into the Intuit Dome, who we play on that first game matters, and we're playing the Phoenix Suns. So that's something to talk about real quick. I mean, we're playing the Suns. First game of the Intuit Dome. It's big time, and it's a great opponent because it's a team that Clipper fans hate. So that's an ideal game. So that'll be great. And then November 6th, I'm marking that one on my calendar, Paul George's return. We will be there.
Make sure to clap when they show his video on the big Halo, what do you call it? Halo screen? Is that what it's called?
Halo board, yeah.
Board, yeah.
By the way, I was just in the Intuit Dome on Sunday, and you can check out the video of my tour there on my channel. It's up to 2,000 views already. Check it out on Dime Dropper YouTube. Yeah, that's all I got about the Cup. I think we have a pretty tough group, though. Sacramento's no slouch. Houston's not going to be easy. Minnesota's one of the best teams in the league. And then the other one was what? Portland, you said?
Yes.
That's the odd. We got to get the dub there, but we'll see what happens in the other ones.
Yeah, same with the Lakers. It's a pretty tough one, right? They got the Timberwolves. They got the Suns. They have the Spurs, who still have Wemby, right? So
how can it be? Wait. You have the Timberwolves. We can't have the same team in the group.
Wait, sorry, not the Timberwolves. We have who's the other team? We have the Suns, Spurs, Jazz. Oh, Thunder. Yeah, obviously Thunder, SGA. That's gonna be tough. The only one we have that's easy is the Jazz, right? Like, okay, cool. Jazz, not a big deal. But we'll see how good Wemby's gonna be. That's the first game. So if he goes off, we might be out of there quick. So it's gonna be a little tricky. But we'll see. They won it last time. They've never lost an NBA in-season tournament game. So I'm hopeful that continues. And if the Lakers are there for the semifinals in Vegas, I'm confirming now. I'll be there. I'll pull up for that. So I'm looking forward to it. But I got to see how they start the season and then kind of how the first couple of games go, because they might not be something I got to plan for. We'll see. All right, cool. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the final segment, which is the Sparks. Like I said, basketball now is pretty much year-round. It doesn't stop. Sparks are just going right into it. So it's crazy. They literally, some of them finished just this weekend, right? Like Talbot finished this weekend. Hamby was just like the week before. And hey, we're gonna no celebration. Katie's like on slides and stuff, and the women, they just gotta just hop back on a plane and get ready to go. So they're gonna keep going here. We have 3 games. So actually, we're gonna have 4 because we're gonna go up until Tuesday on the previews here. So good thing for me, they'll be at crypto.com arena, so I get to watch live basketball again. Now it's back. Sparks Liberty. That's the first game. That's gonna be on Thursday, 6 o'clock. It'll be on ESPN. Dime. Liberty definitely a top team, but I don't know. Maybe the lag here can get a little funny after the Olympic break. Who do you have win here?
I'll be there.
Nice.
You gonna be there?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Cool. I know it's crazy that I'm thinking this hard about it. I'm hoping that Olympic fatigue sets in, but I think the Liberty will win. They're so good. I can't wait to watch Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu and John Quill for the first time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's going to be great. Yeah, I'm with you too. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give Liberty the win. I just think that maybe you catch them slipping, but I just think it's unlikely. I think they'll be ready. All right, and then Friday, this is a big one. I was told it's already sold out. So again, one of the big pushers in this league right now is Angel Reese, and that I'm going to guess that's why it's sold out. Saturday, 2 o'clock game, Sky, Sparks, Angel Reese's first game here in LA. What's going to happen in this one?
You said it's sold out. Does that mean lower bowl only, though? Not 300 section?
I don't think they're making the 300 available, but there are no tickets unless you go to secondary sites or third-party sites at this point.
I won't be able to be there because I'm coaching, but I'm going to go with the Sparks win.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with the Sparks win here. Here, I think the Sky are definitely a talented team, but I'm hoping that here the fatigue and all that, and just kind of starting a little fresh, the Sparks can kind of, they have to start beating some of these teams ahead of them if they're going to make a run. This is it. They're 4 games back of the 8th and final playoff spot. They only have 16 games left. So really this week and next week, if they don't go on a run, you can start counting them out for the playoffs, and you're going to start looking at that magic number of death of how many losses they have left. So if they want to avoid that and still have a run, they have to win some of these games. So I'm going to go with a Sparks win here as well. And Sunday, go ahead.
Wait. I was going to say, no Marina Mabry anymore for this guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we'll see how much that factors in. Obviously, they have some great guard play as well with Carter and Angel Reese, we've already talked about. So they're a good team, but we'll see. Maybe we can catch them there. And then Sunday, it's almost like it's made for TV. We got Sparks versus Aces. So I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of questions on that one. We got Sparks versus Aces in Las Vegas. It won't be here, but it'll be in Las Vegas. 3:00 game. It's on NBA TV. If the WNBA read the script earlier, they would have put this on primetime because this one's going to be spicy. You got literally lawsuits happening between the ex-player and coach, and they're going to have to talk about it at least a little bit, even if they don't want to, even if they're going to say no comment, they're going to be asked questions about it. And we've seen Dearica Hamby. People are going to be reading into everything, right? Dearica Hamby has smoke for this team. She's had 2 games where she, I think, scored 28 or 29 points in 2 of the 3 times they've played. The Sparks have won 2 of the 3 games against the Aces this year. So they always bring it. I think there's a little bit extra here, of course, on both sides. And even just on the basketball level, the Aces are like, hey, man, why did this team that has 6 wins keep beating us? Like, this is ridiculous. So even beyond the petty stuff and like the lawsuits and all that stuff, I think just the pride of, hey, this like quote unquote lesser team keeps whooping on us. Like, let's stop this. It's gonna be electric regardless. Dime, do you have the Sparks winning their 3rd game against the Aces on Sunday?
I do, because we stand with Dearica Hamby, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. I'm gonna go with it too. Let's have some fun here. Let's get some wins. Yeah, that first like Hamby Asia Wilson matchup in the post is gonna just have the crowd's gonna go nuts either way. So I'm curious. And let's preview Sparks versus Suns, which is a Tuesday game early next week, since we'll probably do a pod that night, most likely. Sparks at Suns. So again, now they're going to be on the road. It's going to be on Spectrum Sportsnet, 4:00. So it's a bit of an early game. Dime, who do you have winning in this one?
We're not beating them in Connecticut, I don't think.
Yeah, Connecticut's really good as well. Another title contender. I agree with you on that. I think that the Sparks are going to probably lose that. So hopefully, according to our predictions, hopefully they can go 2-2 or 3-1. That's probably the ideal. 3-1, I think, gives them a chance at the playoffs. If they do something disastrous, Dime, like go 0-4, I think at that point, I don't know. You might have to make some tough decisions on what are you doing with what would be 12 games left. You know, do you call it quits here? What does that mean for the team? How do you do minutes? But if they go 3-1, if they go 2-2 or 4-0, I think you can avoid another week of talking about that and just focus on, hey, let's just get some wins and let's see if we can catch the 8th seed with what's left. And also, I'll tell you now, Dime, just since we got a couple minutes here and we're still alive, let's also do our 3rd quarter. We're a little late, but it was kind of funny because of the Olympic break. Let's do our 3rd quarter reports because we did the 1st quarter, 2nd quarter. Let's do the 3rd, so we'll do the MVP, defensive player, best player on the bench, most improved, and then we'll talk about where things are now and see if our votes have changed. So we'll do that next episode. It'll be more Sparks heavy. We'll give out the awards. We'll recap these games. We'll preview the next ones, and maybe we'll do Lakers Clippers if the schedule gets announced like I predict. If not, then we'll just keep it all Sparks centric. So it'll depend on that. All right, cool. So that's the end of episode 39 of Basketball on Figueroa. I'm Edwin Garcia. That was /is Darian Vaziri, and we out.